Well, welcome to a bit of paradise in Montenegro, everybody. On the last video, I shared with you how I was living in a van in London, some of the challenges I faced, but how at the end of the day, it was worth the sacrifice. And this is why, because now I'm traveling in Europe and I have plans to travel all over the world. We should be shipping the van to Egypt in the not too distant future, and then potentially the US, go over to Canada, potentially South America. The world is a big place. In this video, I want to show you guys how much it costs to live this lifestyle and live in beautiful places like this, by a lake in Montenegro where we spent the last few nights, but we've been living by beaches, in mountains, in forests, and it's actually surprisingly cheap. So I'll give you a full cost breakdown in this video. This is the lake, that's our swimming pool for the day. And if I spin the camera around, in the distance there, you can see the van perspective where it's been parked for the last couple of nights. Nice in nature, nice and quiet. Look, these little legends have been protecting the van all night. What's up, Scrappy? There's loads of stray dogs in Montenegro, but they're all absolutely gorgeous and super friendly. Yo, dude. Oi, hello gorgeous. What have you got to say to the people? Subscribe to Life of Si. Alright, come on. Don't worry, they're gonna make sure no one fucks with the van lock. Isn't that right? Well, welcome inside the van, everybody. A few dishes to clean, but overall she's not too bad. But I'm not here to show you how to clean dishes. I'm here to give you a full cost breakdown of everything that we spend on a monthly basis. When I say we, me and my girlfriend spend to live this lifestyle. It's surprisingly cheap. I've got my trusted notepad as always. I'll give you a full cost breakdown now. Right, working our way down the list. First of all, rent. How much does it cost us to pay for these spaces, to live in this car park at this current moment in time? But usually we've actually been by beaches and those kind of places, to be honest with you. Well, it doesn't cost us anything. I've mentioned on a previous video, there's an app called Park4Night. It's totally free. Don't worry, I'm not an affiliate or anything like this. I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's totally free to download, and it's what we use to find free car parking spaces around the world. It's an amazing app. We are using it on a daily basis, and you can too. And so in terms of rent, it doesn't actually cost us anything to live in these kind of spaces, next to beaches, next to lakes, or wherever it is. We've not paid for a single space since we've started this journey, and we don't intend on paying for a single space. The whole idea is to ultimately do this as cheap as possible. Next one on the list, you've obviously got your typical things that you'll find in a house or an apartment, whatever it is: gas, electricity, water, heating. I'll walk you through these now. First of all, gas. How much does it cost us for gas? Now, there are two types of van that you can have. You can have something that is off-grid, that is basically completely self-sufficient, or you can have a van that you need to park on campsites, and then you can obviously plug it into their electricity or use their water. Now, this van is built to be completely off-grid, and the reason I did that is, one, we want to obviously go on an adventure all around the world, and two, we want the overall costs on a monthly basis to be as low as possible. Starting first of all with gas. The gas on this, we've got a cooker that you can see here. I've done obviously a full van tour, so I'm not going to do that on this video. I do have a full van tour video for those who've not seen it, if you want to obviously see all the components and everything like this that we've got. We've got a full cooker. It's got burners, it's got a grill, it's got an oven. Now this runs off LPG. This is something that I would absolutely advise for you guys that are thinking about getting into this whole van life business. Get an LPG gas tank. The reason that I say that, we filled our gas up, or topped it up, the other day. We've been using it every single day, morning and the evening. The hob to heat water, the cooker, pizzas, the rest of it, whatever we want to eat, the grill for toasties or whatever else it is that you want to do, burgers, sausages, the stuff like this. And we filled it up for the first time, and it cost us 15 euros to fill back up. That has worked out to be an average of €5 a month to use every single day, and that's 2 people, me and my girlfriend. It's insanely cheap. It's basically a cheat code to the system of paying for gas. You can obviously have gas bottles if you want to go down that route, but then you've got to go to like Cala gas filling stations and stuff like this, and it's a lot more expensive. So it's worth the extra investment. In total, for the cooker and for the gas system, it cost me about £1,200. But if I'm going to be living this life for a good few years, which I intend on, and it's only costing me £5 a month for gas, I'll soon recuperate those costs and then it'll be worth it. I'd absolutely advise you guys to get an LPG gas tank. Super cheap. That's €5 a month. Electricity. As I mentioned, this is an off-grid van. I've got 3 solar panels on the roof, 650 watts of solar power, so my electricity is now completely free. Charging our phones, charging our laptops, the LED lights, the fridge is also 12-volt system. We've got a water heater that's also electric. It's enough for both of us to use all of the appliances and everything that we need and not have to worry. So it doesn't cost us anything for electricity. So electricity is zero. Our water, now we've got a water tank. I mentioned again, you can have a van that has a water tank or one that needs to plug into a site. Trust me, get a water tank if you want to go down the off-grid living and the cheap living route. Water, we've been traveling in Europe. The only place that we have paid for water has been Belgium. And actually, to be fair, Belgium's a legendary place for camper vans because they provide specific pitches and stuff like this that don't cost you money, but then you can just pay for water and electricity. Even still, the water in Belgium was only €1 for 100 litres, but everywhere else that we've travelled in Europe, Switzerland, Austria, Croatia, Montenegro, France, everywhere else has been completely free. You can fill it up at petrol stations. There's often roadside pull-ins that just have taps that you can connect a hose to. To be honest with you, I'm going to say zero for that because everywhere else that we're currently traveling in Europe, there's not been a single cost for our water, which is unbelievable. That's why I'd advise you guys to get a water tank. The cost for water, zero on a monthly basis. Heating, now I was talking about the electricity. There's 2 types of water heater that you can get. You can get one that runs off your LPG gas, which would still be very cheap because obviously LPG is super cheap, or you can have an electric water heater. We've got an electric water heater because we've got 650 watts of solar. It's enough to power our electric water heater for us both to have a hot shower. And again, because it's coming off the solar, it's completely free. So we also get hot water for free. Now, keeping on the theme of heating, a lot of vans use diesel heaters, which are very popular. Obviously for that, you just need to put in diesel. They're super simple, super easy to use. You just basically flick a switch and then you've got heating in your van pretty quickly. If you've seen the van tour video, have chose to go for legendary Lenny, which is a wood and coal burner. I only burn wood in Lenny. We scavenge our wood, find our wood, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't cost us anything for the wood. It's obviously got a flue as well, which gets extremely hot. So this is more than enough to heat the whole of the van. Then we also get heating for free as well. Obviously, when we're living in places like this, currently in Montenegro, where it's like 30 degrees, you don't need it. You're living in Portugal, the south of Spain and Croatia and this kind of stuff. But we were in the mountains in Austria when it was snowing right at the top, having snowball fights, and then absolutely you need heating because it gets extremely cold. And that's where it came in to use. And I always wanted a wood burner as well. Love real fires and all the rest of that. Heating of the van doesn't cost us anything. Now, moving on to things that really do cost you money. Van insurance. Obviously, everyone has to have van insurance. It's not going to be a fixed cost because obviously it's dependent on the individual. It depends on your age, whether you've got no claims, where you live, what van it is, what country, all this kind of stuff. For me, I'm paying about €40 per month for my van insurance. But obviously, I mean, I've been driving for a long time. I'm 35 years old. I've got over 10 years, no claims. Van insurance is pretty cheap for me. So you're going to have obviously have a look yourself and see what it will actually cost you to travel in your van and how much it's going to insure. But for that, for me, it's €40 a month. Next, road tax. Now, I don't know what country you're from or where you're watching this from, you may have road tax, you may not. In the UK, we pay road tax. And do you know something that's totally ridiculous? It's road tax you're supposed to pay for the roads that you use. And yet, even when I'm in Europe or I'm traveling around the world, because it's a UK vehicle, I still have to pay UK road tax, which is a bit of a joke. But hey ho, I don't make the rules. You got to just fly with it sometimes. And that for this van is 240 pounds for a year's worth of road tax. If you break that down on a monthly basis, it costs 20 pounds per month. You can say about 25 euros a month for the road tax. Now moving on, food. I wanted to include food in this as well to show you how much it can actually cost you to actually live and survive this way. Not just things that are fixed costs, but things like food, so you can actually ultimately live this lifestyle. Now, moving on to food. Food, there's obviously two of us, like I said. On average, we are spending 120 euros a week on food. Now, we're not eating out, we're not eating at restaurants or anything like this. The whole point of this journey is to show you guys that you can live a life of freedom for very cheap. And for us, we're shopping at Lidl, we're shopping at Aldi. I think the shop is like Volley at Montenegro, if I'm not mistaken, the big supermarkets. But we just shop at supermarkets. Like I said, we've got an oven, we've got a cooker. It's nice to cook your own food, and it's also nice to eat outside in places like this anyway, so we're not too bothered about eating in restaurants and spending more money when we don't have to. Food as an average for both of us, you can say that it's around 500 euros a month. Obviously, it's going to be dependent on your country. When I was living in London, it was costing me a fortune for food. Now I'm obviously living in Montenegro at this moment in time, and it's a lot cheaper. Depends on where you are. And again, if there's one of you, then you can basically just cut that in half and just say it's around 250 euros a month if you want to shop at supermarkets. And that's eating comfortably, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the rest of it. Now, the final cost that I want to share with you guys, and hopefully this helps you save a load of money, because you're going to want internet. If you're watching this video right now, I'm assuming you've got internet. We all use internet on a daily basis now, let's face it, especially if you're going to be doing YouTube and stuff like this, like I am. I need internet. Now, when I arrived in Montenegro, I got a text from O2, and they kindly said to me, because Montenegro is not part of the EU, it's in the Balkans, it's not included in my data package. When I arrived in Montenegro, I got a text from O2 saying that Montenegro is not included. It's classed as Zone 2. You need what's called a bolt-on. You can click the link below for free and add a bolt-on. That's very kind of them. I can click the link for free. Well, guess what? I go through, and this is where I'm really hoping that this helps some people save a lot of money, because a lot of people just take the easy route in life. And the easy route is not necessarily the right route to take, especially when it comes for money. If I'd have carried on and just downloaded, I went through this link and I took this bolt-on package, O2 wanted to charge me for 1 gigabyte worth of data, £45 for 1 gig. Now, to put that into perspective, if you've got Netflix, Prime, whatever, and you want to watch a video, or even on YouTube, it's the same data usage. For 1 hour worth of streaming, you're going to use an average of 1 gigabytes worth of data. For a 2-hour movie, so an average movie on Netflix, you'll use 2 gigabytes of data. If I'd have used that bolt-on package with O2, one movie on Netflix would have cost me £90 to watch. Now, when I came into Montenegro, there are kiosks, stores, whatever you want to call it, where you can buy what's called a tourist SIM. And they're only for tourists. And that SIM, there is a company called, I believe it's Telecom, and you can buy that SIM. It's 1 terabyte worth of data, which is 1,000 gigabytes worth of data, and it's only 20 euros. Now, also another tip to help you guys, if you've got an iPhone, I believe it's an iPhone 11 or above, then you have the capability of having a dual SIM. What you can do, which is what I did, I rang up O2, I switched my O2 SIM to an eSIM, so it's just an electrical SIM. You don't have to do anything, you don't even have to take a package in the post or anything like this. They just switch your SIM to electric. Then I could take out that SIM, I could put in this Telecom SIM, then I could still have my old number, everything else that was with that SIM, because that's now on an eSIM, And the telecom sim that I had a terabyte worth of data with was now in my phone. I've now got 1,000 gigabytes worth of data for €20, and I've still got my O2 number and everything else still works as normal. To finish off, if I've used the data, 1 terabyte worth of data with O2, and I'd have kept uploading videos, kept streaming videos, yes, it's a lot of data to use. But if I had have used bolt-ons with O2, do you know how much 1 terabyte of data would have cost me? It would have cost me €50,000. And yet, if I use this sim, this telecom sim, for the same amount of data, it's costing me €20. And that's enough to stream all of the movies and everything else that you want. Hopefully that's a big money saving tip for you. But either way, the internet, for all of that data, it's only costing me €20 a month. Calculating everything, there's no rent, there's no electricity, there's no water, there's no cost to heating, there's no cost to heating the water. The gas is only €5 per month. The van insurance is only around €40 a month. The road tax works to about €25 a month. The food works out to be about €500 a month. And the internet is only €20 a month. That's everything that we need, all included. And in total, you're looking at around between $585 and $600 a month. The reason that I say between that is because obviously there's 2 of us. If you want 2 data packages, you want 2 sims, then you can add on another €20. But what you can say is to live comfortably in Europe, at beaches, in mountains, in forests, by lakes, in the sunshine, wherever you want, for 2 people, it'll cost you around €600 a month. That's it. So it's unbelievably cheap and super cost effective, especially when I was paying around £800 a month for my 1 bedroom in a shared accommodation in London, not including gas, not including bills, heating, not including food, not including my phone bill, not including anything else. This is an unbelievable way to live, and it's very comfortable living in a van like this. There we go, that's a full cost breakdown for you. Now obviously that does not include traveling around. As I mentioned, I'm going to be hopefully shipping the van out to Egypt over the next few months. We're also potentially shipping the van out to South America, and then in the future we're going to be shipping the van out to the States and doing Canada. There's obviously cost to fuel, there's cost to ferries and all the rest of this kind of stuff, but I wanted to share with you what it costs in terms of fixed costs to just live in a fixed place in Europe, because you don't have to move around. That's obviously optional. What I will do on an upcoming video, I will share with you guys how much it costs me in fuel, general wear and tear, tyres, this kind of stuff, because I did have a flat tyre the other day. I did have to get this beast towed. It cost me a lot of money. So there are kind of costs like this, but they're unexpected costs. They're not fixed costs if you do live in a fixed space. So there we go. That's how much it costs us to live in Europe, live in beautiful places. Hopefully this helps you. That's everything that we spend. Hopefully it also inspires you. Maybe you can do the same thing. All right, I will see you guys on the next video. I hope that this has helped. Live free and live happy.